So I had just briefly talked about Captain Planet in my last video, and it turns out they just announced that they are going to have a live-action adaptation of Captain Planet coming to Netflix. Apparently this has been in the works for a while, but it looks like it is going forward now, so that's interesting. Captain Planet was admittedly pretty cheesy, but I do still have a soft spot for it because I grew up with it. But they do have a lot of hot takes in that show, and ones that are not well received, and I think for a very good reason. But the show had very heavy political themes like environmentalism, that was definitely the main one, but they also dealt with some other issues, and they did have some controversial episodes, like there was one about overpopulation that was pretty infamous, where they basically said that if a couple has more than 2 children, they are destroying the world. And imagine being a third child and watching Captain Planet, and they're basically saying that you personally are ruining everything and killing the planet, because that's pretty much what happened. But they had some other episodes too that did stick with me personally as a child, like the drug episode, where one of the Planeteers' cousins was addicted to drugs, and he ended up ODing on them, and it was really dramatic. He basically downs half a bottle of drugs and then just drops dead, so that was really intense.
Boris! It's me, Linka! Wake up!
Linka? He's dead.
No!
But I think the show does have potential. It's just that it was very, very heavy-handed. But I think the idea of 5 kids with elemental superpowers who have the ability to summon another superhero is a good idea and something that could work. If they would just chill out and, calm down with some of their more problematic takes. But I guess we'll get into the article now. So this article is from IGN, and it says Captain Planet and the Planeteers live-action series in the works at Netflix, and Leonardo DiCaprio is involved. Apparently he's producing, which I admittedly did not expect. I guess he was a fan growing up, but hands up if you remember Captain Planet and the Planeteers. The early 90s American animated environmentalist superhero television series is fondly remembered by a generation of kids who absorbed its eco-friendly message and toys. As far as fondly remembered, growing up, a lot of my friends personally would usually rag on the show for being so, dramatic. But I do think if they dialed back the dramatics, they could have something here. But let's move on. Now 30 years later, it's coming back as a live-action series for Netflix. Variety reported that Captain Planet and the Planeteers is on its way to being adapted to a live-action series at Netflix, with Greg Berlanti and Leonardo DiCaprio as executive producers. Netflix declined to comment. It then goes on to say there have been various efforts to adapt Captain Planet over the years, including a movie for DiCaprio, but they never went anywhere. I did not know DiCaprio was a fan of Captain Planet. That's funny. But yeah, the show was fairly popular, I'd say, and there have been efforts to bring it back. I remember there was like a Don Cheadle parody not too long ago. So for all of its cheesiness and questionable takes, it did have some kind of staying power. The original television series Captain Planet and the Planeteers is an environmentally conscious show that tells the story of 5 kids from different areas of the world who are each given a magical ring that grants them the ability to control a specific element. When all 5 join forces, they can summon an environmental superhero called Captain Planet. The article then finishes up with Captain Planet was a form of edutainment that advocated the United Nations as an organization and the concepts of globalism, multiculturalism, and environmentalism. And then that's where the article ends. But I want to keep talking about the show a little bit more. So yeah, the show was very conscious about, politics, I guess. All the characters are multicultural and ethnically diverse. And the fact that there was a character from the Soviet Union at that time, considering it was like the tail end of the Cold War, I'm actually pretty surprised that they would include a character from that area. So I guess they were trying in their own way to bridge the two sides together, like having a character from the Soviet Union and the United States on the same team. And it was a very kumbaya kind of show that was all about coming together and fighting pollution and urban decay, and there was an episode about AIDS, which was also very infamous.
He's got AIDS!
So I would definitely be interested in seeing how they update it, and hopefully they'll have a little bit more tact when discussing these topics. I imagine it's still going to tackle these same issues, especially environmentalism, because, like, to be fair, if you're going to adapt Captain Planet and not make it environmentalism focused, then what are you even doing at that point? I guess the last thing I want to comment on would be Mati, who was the South American representation character. So all the characters have an element that they control, but for Mati, he actually has the element of heart. So there's the 4 elements, which is water, fire, earth, and wind. But then Mati has heart, and Mati had a lot of naysayers saying that he was useless and his powers were stupid and stuff like that. Because basically he has the power to, like, influence people and affect their emotions to where they would care about the political topic of the day, like environmentalism. So there would be, like, an oil tycoon who is putting profit over protecting the environment, and he has the ability to make them feel bad about doing that, and then he would stop polluting, and that was basically Mati's whole thing. So I don't know if maybe they would, like, update his powers to be a little more cool. You know, everybody else is, like, throwing fire and blowing people away with wind and stuff. Or I don't know, maybe make him a social media influencer or something. Really play into the influence thing. Or maybe give him powers more similar to Green Lantern or something. Because technically when you think about it, heart and willpower are kind of the same thing. The will to go on and the will to make a change and stuff like that. And to be honest, manipulating emotions can be really scary. I think there is a lot you could do with that, but it would depend on a pretty skilled writer. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say about Captain Planet. I don't know, I'm interested in seeing what they do with it. I hope it's at least better than the original, more tactful, that would be cool. But I also hope it's fun. I hope it doesn't get too preachy. Don't make the same mistakes as the original. But yeah, what do you guys think of this Captain Planet reboot? Do you think it has potential? Do you think they should just leave Captain Planet in the past? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And with that, I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to our members: Tyrant Carnivore, Shiny Orc Boy, Depth Charge Media, Samaru163, Gabby Hime, Verdant Range, JVR, Equestron, Norman Sweet Cream, Way Beyond Coincidence, Hunter Rose, 80s Nostalgia Guy, Felix Bam, Lucas Geist, J Draws, Meowsers, Sky, Philip, Isaac Martinez, Garcia XV Legend, Tobias Weller, Bandito Bane, Mac B909, Dakari the Professor, Todd McCaffrey, Omni Fair, Cavalcoj, Strider Exile, Phil C, Killer Bomb, Slawa Saporiguez, Entwined Boot 301, Griffin of Might, Frankie Camarillo, Datadyne Executive, Crimson Phantom, Jin the Goblin, Papa Hud 69, The Gengar King, Daunter, G-Rock, and Chaos Jumper. Thank you for the support, and if you want to become a member, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button. We also have Buy Me Coffee if you want to support us that way. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and that part's free. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.